Hey, this is Janelle, the relationship coach behind the Successful Invisible, and today I am here with a dating tip to stop trauma bonding. At a minimum, avoid it. Now, that may seem very simple and complex at the same time, but let me kind of break it down. So, trauma bonding can feel like a deep connection. And a lot of times, when people have not dealt with their traumas, in the words of my therapist, big T and little t, it can come up in the most inane ways very casually with new people. And in this case of dating, it can feel like a deep connection when you first meet somebody and you hit it off. And this person has had similar experiences or similar pain or hardships. It's very easy to start looping in your trauma, even if especially if it's the small T's or it's the big T traumas that you've minimized throughout your life. You start sharing your struggles, swapping war stories, and suddenly it feels like you understand each other on a different level. But be careful. Bonding over wounds isn't the same thing as building intimacy. Let me repeat that. Bonding over wounds is not the same thing as building intimacy. It often creates an emotional attachment that's rooted in past hurt rather than present compatibility. And if neither of you have done that work to untangle that stuff, and it takes time, you're going to latch further to it or identify more closely with it because now you're sharing it with this person and it's giving a false sense of intimacy. Instead of bonding over pain, focus on connecting through healed experiences. Speak about your healing. If you meet someone and they say you two both had a rough childhood and you experienced similar things, the first thing that you need to do once you see you have that resonance is say, hey, how have you worked on your healing since you've been an adult? How, especially now, I work with grown folks and they date grown folks. So I have asked men that before who I have not shared experiences with, but I am self-aware and I'm a coach and I like to ask questions. So I said, how have you worked on your healing from that? And give him the space to really answer. And if there's no answer, that is the answer. So a healthy relationship should uplift you, not keep you circling back to your old triggers. If your conversations always revolve around heartbreak, betrayal, chaos, abuse, harm, etc., that you've both survived, you might be recreating the same emotional chaos rather than moving forward. You deserve a love that's grounded in peace, not in shared suffering. On the back end of this, I saw this video on TikTok and I really felt this young lady did a great explanation. So listen to it and let me know your thoughts.
If you want advice on how to get this to this point, I got you. So the best way to change a pattern of behavior is to understand why that pattern is there in the first place. Because every pattern of behavior you have, whether you want it to be there or not, is usually there to protect you, or it's a coping mechanism. For me, when I was in the place of sharing my traumas with people, like as soon as I met them or pretty early on in the relationship, I realized a few things. One, I really needed to feel seen and validated because the people that I expected to do that for me didn't do that for me. On top of it, I was really good at gaslighting myself and telling myself that it was not that things that hurt me just weren't that big of a deal. So I was looking outside of myself for that validation. But on top of it, I also needed to feel like a baby because again, I didn't really get that. I needed to feel like a victim. I needed to have someone to save me and to take care of me and to be outraged for me at what these people had done. Someone to tell me that I didn't deserve it. So the way that I changed this is that I started giving that to myself. And this isn't just like a one-off conversation that you give to yourself, like, yes, you didn't deserve this and that. It's not just a one-off conversation. This is a practice. You do this both for the things in the past that happened, but also for things that are happening in the present and that continue to happen. Your inner child needs to be able to trust you, to see them, to validate them, and to baby them, but also to be outraged for them, to stand up for them. But also remember that healing doesn't happen in a vacuum. Your healing goes a lot deeper when you do have people in your life that you can trust to do the same for you, to be outraged for you, to be there for you, to support you, and to validate your experiences too. The danger isn't in outsourcing it, it's outsourcing it to people you barely know, who you can't trust to have your best interest at heart. because those people, especially if you're a cisgendered woman dating cisgendered men, can use that against you. The next thing I did is that I expanded my identity outside of my trauma. When you experience trauma, it's very easy to have that trauma consume your identity. A lot of times you kind of forget who you were outside of that. It's all you can focus on, it's all you can think about, so it's what you share when you meet new people. I had to remind myself who I was outside of my backstory and my trauma. And I am always continuously exploring who I am, what my identity really is. And these interests and these perspectives that I'm developing and this person that I'm becoming is the person that I choose to share with new people who walk into my life, not the old version of myself. Let me know if you guys have any questions, and if you need help, click the link in my bio and book a session with me.
I stopped dating my trauma when I finally let people have their moods without making it my job to fix them. And if this thing is because it's yours, because your safety is rooted in scanning for danger and trying to fix it. See, growing up, when someone in my family was upset with you, they didn't say anything. Not at first, right? We are a family that talks about stuff, but it usually gets explosive. But not at first. They just stop talking to you. They ghost you. They disappear. And that silence, that pattern is toxic because it teaches you that love can leave without warning. And so it made me hyper vigilant, like constantly watching people's moods to avoid being abandoned. So in relationships, it wasn't any different. If she acted different for 5 minutes, I spiraled. I replayed everything that I said, everything that I did, and like somewhere along the line convinced myself that I had messed up. But you know what I learned? Most of the time, she wasn't even upset with me. Her mood had nothing to do with me. But as the emotional caretaker in my family, I carried moods that weren't even mine. My old trauma said, stay on alert, because if you mess up, you'll lose them, they'll walk away. So I got used to walking on eggshells. And that's why I craved consistency so much, because my worth was tied to who stayed and who didn't. But here's what I learned: someone can have their moods and I can still be at peace, right? Peace isn't about avoiding their bad days. It's about not handing away your safety every time someone feels off. Like, we are humans and we have human emotions, and we're not here to feel happy all the time. We're here to feel fully. So support when they ask for it, if they ask for it, but stop policing your partner's emotions or the person that you're dating, their emotions. It's not your job to fix what you didn't break. Oof. I think I needed that reminder for myself today too. So share this with someone that you know needs to hear it, and follow for more on how you can stop dating your trauma and finally feel safe and loved. Breathe all this in and don't shrink today. I love you all.